Welcome to the July community meeting. This meeting will be recorded and we abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct. If you don't want to be recorded, just hop off the meeting or keep your camera off. We don't have like a lot on the agenda today, and I know it's just the three of us. But I know that Kate, you and I have been working on the demo with the Akri plus Spin Cube, and we should, I know we said we were going to submit that for the co-located events. I did start like a small draft, so I'll send the HackMD link over to you. Um, but yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the demo that you threw together last time?
Sure. So Eugen and I were talking about how it would be neat to kind of combine Akri and Spin, which is another open source project that basically makes it easier to run serverless WebAssembly, to build and run serverless WebAssembly applications. And now with Spin Cube, you can easily deploy those applications to your Kubernetes clusters. So in the demo, I wanted to create a scenario where Akri discovers some sort of device and deploys these WebAssembly applications as brokers to use the devices. And so Spin applications, because they're serverless applications, have a concept of an event that triggers running the application. And so I was trying to think about, okay, well, Spin has an MQTT trigger. So we could do something where with Akri, we discover some sort of MQTT topic, and then the discovery handler will see that topic from the MQTT broker and deploy these Spin applications, which are triggered by changes to the topic. So what I basically did in the demo is I would just publish new updates to that topic. And every time that there was like a new message for the topic, that would trigger the Spin application to run again. And so this kind of can show how, like in a real edge scenario, you may want to deploy these WebAssembly applications on your edge clusters that dynamically only run when your devices are updating. So, or like send new information, not updating, but yeah, or sending new information. So yeah, we think it could be a really interesting demo for Edge Day. Kubernetes on Edge Day traditionally, I think for the past 3 years, maybe actually maybe not full 3 years, but for the past probably, I don't know, four iterations of it from Europe and North America, there's been like a talk on WebAssembly. And so I think this will be a good combination of WebAssembly plus Akri as a CNCF project. And so yeah, I think that'll be exciting to share. And then there's a demo linked in the notes that shows it, and then there's a repo that has all the repro steps. And I had to like make changes to a bunch of the repositories to like support this, but I think if we get accepted, there probably could be ways that we can make this not a bunch of forks. So there's already one change that is probably going into the shim, the container dshim and spin cube soon that will make it so we don't have to make as many changes. So I think we should be on our way for that. Um, and yeah, and that's about it. Happy to collaborate on the CFP. Um, and go from there.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you. Um, do you think for the CFP, maybe we should, I mean, sh do we need to talk about like a specific use case where we're like, hey, like, let's say we have this MQTT industrial device and we're running like anomaly detection of temperatures on it, or maybe we do something more cool. But yeah, how specific do you think we need to be?
Um, so I think we may have touched on this a little in our chats, but we can't do AI stuff from WebAssembly from Spin unless
Mm,
it's large language models. So like WASI-NN isn't supported in Spin, so we can't do anomaly detection.
mm,
Um, unless we do it in a kind of wacky way, which I don't want to have to explain in a demo, but we could do something weird where we essentially cache all previous messages in a key value store in the WebAssembly application. And then we can use an LLM to basically um, look at all the previous caches and ask, hey, is there an anomaly here? But that's a really gross way of doing that. So, yeah, I don't think we should say we do anomaly detection. I think it should be something like message forwarding would be a good example of like, or aggregation. So something like maybe on the edge, you have a bunch of sensors that publish to MQTT topics. And so your broker is just supposed to, like, each time there's a new message, like, maybe transform and forward it
Mhm.
or something along those lines would be a potentially good use case. But I do think we should not be specific. I think in the CFP, we more say, hey, there's a bunch of devices on the edge communicating. MQTT is one of the most popular protocols for that. And they publish with MQTT devices, you publish to a topic. Wouldn't it be great if you could deploy event-driven um, applications that run only upon message updates? And wouldn't be great if you could automatically discover those topics, enter Akri and spin, um, and we can kind of figure out the demo if we get accepted, rather than promising something we're not sure about.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that sounds like a good approach. Cool. Um, Anything else on this? Any questions? Okay. Um, and then I see that the agent refactor PR has been approved. So yay. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah, I think Nicholas has been doing a lot of work to kind of revamp Akri to utilize the latest and greatest in Kubernetes and device interfaces.
Mhm.
Namely, there's something called the Container Device Interface, CDI, and dynamic resource allocation that we were interested in leveraging. We're not sure about the path to DRA, but CDI was pretty quick to integrate with. So this makes it so that we're starting to use CDI with Akri. And probably one of the best things about this, and one of the issues that have come up in Akri a lot, is how we handle slot reconciliation. So the idea of this is where with Akri, we're able to request devices for a container, but we're not able to unrequest those devices before tearing down a container. We've called this the deallocation problem. So what this means is sometimes a container will be torn down and we don't realize that it's no longer using that device in our custom resources. So we have to basically use CRI/CTL to inspect containers running on that host and see what devices they're like see if they're still running, which is a pretty high level of authority for a pod running on a cluster and causes some security issues. So instead, there's the kubelet pod resources API, I believe it's called, that we are now using, which is now available. So we're already communicating with the kubelet for the device plugin interface. So now this enables the agent to, instead of using CRI/CTL and having to bundle that with the agent container as well, which bloats it, we are using this API to ask kubelet, hey, kubelet, are these pods still running? If not, then tear down the resources that like free up the Akri resources that were allocated for them. So it'll help our security posture and help us get to 1.0 with Akri as well.
Awesome. Um, yeah, I wonder if we should have like a checklist, a running checklist somewhere of like the things that we wanted for V 1.0. I feel like I know it's all over the notes in here, definitely. Maybe I can like make a separate hack MD and we could start checking things off just so that we can really like track our progress towards it.
So I think the best way of doing that is project boards. And I think we may have discussed that in the past because we actually have an Akri 1.0 project board.
Yeah, we
So
right.
I
Yeah.
think that might be a good way of doing it, of like adding issues to that.
Yeah, we should update that. Cool.
I think one thing I might go back to soon is trying to move the discovery handlers out of Akri core. So that would be another thing to do. So once the refactor's in, do we want to do another release? And if so, we're going to need to do a big hackathon on this refactor because it's so big. I'm sure we're missing some bugs with it. So um, that's something we should keep in mind.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely make a release soon and we can do a bug bash before. Does async bug bash work best for people, you think, or should we like
Yeah,
set
for sure, async.
okay. Well,
But we'll want to like create some scenarios to test and talk to Nicholas about where he thinks there might be edge cases that scenarios can help us and certain scenarios that may help us assess those cases and such. So
mhm.
like how do we try and create a scenario where we need to do the new form of slot reconciliation and check that and how that's working? Or if there's two discovery handlers with the same type of protocol, so like two ONVIF discovery handlers, how does it handle that? Because it should support that and it should be able to aggregate the devices coming from both discovery handlers. So we should be testing that scenario as well. Um, what happens if one of those discovery handlers goes down? Like, are the other ones still being populated? Or um, there's a bunch of scenarios. I can keep trying to think of more too.
Should we aim for like a August release?
Yeah, I don't think we need, yeah, sure. If we want to put a date on it to motivate that, that's fine.
Okay. Um, okay, anything else on this topic? All right. Ethan, did you have like the metrics that you wanted to share this time around? Or
Let me quickly share it. You guys see it now?
Mhm.
Okay. So the for the metrics for the last month, the visit to the GitHub is slightly reduced, a little bit drop, and we don't have any visitor to the issue board, assuming that no one wants to report new issues. So actually, for the last month, we don't have any new issues opened, but two issues were closed. And in terms of the video views for our introduction videos, these are the number for the last month. So it's I think it's slowly increasing. Um, and then the Slack channel members pretty much the same. Then if we look at the download of packages, we still got some good numbers, good download numbers. Some people are still using the 0.12.9 version. And then for the uh, non-architecture specific versions, we can see that people are really moved to the latest one, which is the 12.20, and we got zero download for the last month for the 12.17. So that's basically our metrics for the month.
All right. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I feel like our GitHub hasn't been very active. It's been a little quiet. I don't know if it's just because like summer's rolling around and stuff, or uh, yeah, I don't know. But I do think that like getting a new release out soon will probably help with that. All right. Next topic. I see that you've added the removed stale bot. Is that the one that marks the stale like labels on all the issues?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that probably would help with all those old issues that we're still investigating and such. Um, I know that there's also, it looks like there's some issues that are still assigned to Johnson and stuff, so we should probably reassign those just so that people can take those up if they want. So I'll go ahead and do that. Mm, okay, and yeah, I don't think there's any new issues for us to triage either. So are there any other topics that anyone else wants to bring?
I'm good.
All right. Well then, we can probably just end the meeting early today. And Kate, I'll probably ping you on Slack about the CFP draft.
Cool. Yeah, just send me that over whenever you can.
Yeah,
All right.
cool. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Talk to
everyone.
you soon. Bye.
Bye.